Hey everyone, I'm Colin with Gamenetics, and I'm here to show you how to fix stick drift on a PlayStation 5 controller. Just because you have some stick drift doesn't mean you have a broken analog. What I'm about to show you can save you time, money, and frustration. This is one of the most basic repairs you can make on your own. We've all been playing a game and watched our character move when you're not touching the thumbstick. Not only is it annoying, but it can cost you time, accuracy, and basically destroy your KD. So I'm going to show you a few methods you can actually use to fix a drifting stick. So these are the tools that we're going to need. We're going to use a mini Phillips head screwdriver and a pry tool. These both come in our DIY kits, and then some electronics duster. So before we start, here are a couple easy fixes we can do before we crack into the controller. You can start by pulling up these analog sticks. You can kind of give them a good pull and they slowly kind of pop up. And you can feel the drag when you move it around. Pull those up and then press them down really hard, not too hard again. And just click them around and spin them. Make sure they click. Make sure they're really down on those analog cubes underneath the actual stick. And then another technique you can try is taking the electronics duster, and before even breaking into the controller, you can take the end of the straw, move the analogs aside, and spray into the cracks around the analog stick to get underneath to clear any debris of any kind. So when you're using the electronics duster, make sure not to turn it sideways or upside down when you're spraying it, because it will turn into a liquid and possibly give you frostbite or damage the components in your controller. Do it to the other one as well. And then plug it in and test it and see if that fixed it. If you're finding this video helpful, remember to like and subscribe for more DIY fix-it videos and tutorials. We want to show you how easy it is to do some of these repairs on your own. Alright, so the next technique, you're going to have to actually get into the controller. So I'm going to show you how to break it down into pieces and parts and see the inside of the controller. So getting into a PS5 controller is a little bit more complicated than an Xbox controller. So just be careful, take your time, and be gentle with it. You don't want to break anything. And if you're still having trouble, rewatch the video, and I'm sure that'll help. You're going to start by taking your pry tool and popping up this and this. So you take the pry tool, put it right in the edge there, get it underneath, pop that side up, and the same on the other side. Pop that. Once that's popped up, you can pop these up a little bit. And then as you're kind of pulling on one side, get that pry tool, put it underneath here, pop that up, and it should come right out. It comes up and then pull back so that these tabs come out from underneath this. Set that aside. Next thing you're going to want to do is pop off the L1 and R1 to get to the screws. There's one screw there, and then one underneath here. So hold down that trigger, take the pry tool, put it underneath the bumper, and hold on to that bumper because it will launch, and just give it a good pop. Take that off, and the same on the other side. Set those aside, and then grab your small Phillips head, unscrew the screws here. When you're doing this, be careful. There's a slot here and here that the screw can fall into. So when you're doing this, kind of do it like this, so when it falls, yeah, like that, falls on the table. And then you're gonna wanna remove the screw here and here. The same thing with these is be careful because they can fall into the controller. So once it's almost fully out, flip it upside down. And just to be safe, you can unscrew it fully like this. Like that. Now you have all 4 screws out. So you're gonna grab the pry tool again. And this is a little difficult. You're gonna put your thumb here and your other thumb here, pry it apart and kind of put your finger in between to hold it so that there's pressure on it. And there's a tab right here and a tab right here. So when you're pulling this apart, you wanna pop these tabs like so.
Be gentle when you're pulling it apart because you can break the tabs and you don't want that.
Like so. Get underneath there and it should pop. Pop again. Then grab the back shell and the front shell. And slowly, gently pull it apart. And that back shell comes right off. Set that aside. Now that you're inside, what you're gonna wanna do is take the battery out. That's pretty simple. You just pick it up, and it's under this little tab, so pull the wires out from under there. Grip the wires like this, and just unplug it from that. Set that aside. And then you're gonna want to unplug the ribbon cables here and here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 that you want to unplug. So you grip those. Those come out.
So in removing the ribbon cables, be really careful because sometimes they'll tear. So be really gentle with them. Sometimes I'll use pliers and just grab the tab and gently pull them out because tearing them means you have to buy a new one and they're not easy to find.
So those 2 are out. And this one, be careful with this one. It's the microphone. It's really delicate, so kind of pop it like that so that it's free, and then unplug that one as well. Set that aside. And then we'll get to that one once we take this plastic shell off. Unscrew this using the same tool. Once that's unscrewed, you can take this whole piece off. Now you can get to this ribbon cable and that ribbon cable. And with these, you can just unplug those. And then with this one's a little bit more difficult. Kind of just pull it back a bit. And unplug that. Fold it up like that so it's straight. Alright, so once all your ribbon cables are unplugged, you can pop this circuit board up. Simply put your fingers on the 2 analog sticks and press.
So when we say exposing the underside of the circuit board, we don't actually mean removing it because it is still attached by wires. So what we mean is just flip it upside down, exposing the analog sticks. And be careful of those wires, they're really thin and they're still attached and they might snap.
And it should pop. There's 2 tabs here and here that is holding this down. So when you press on the analog sticks, it pops over those. And once this is down, pop off the analog sticks. And now you're to the cubes. Now that you're in the controller and you have access to the analog cubes, grab your electronics duster, take the end of the straw. First, look around on the analog cube, see if there's any like hair or dirt or anything.
So when it comes to the analog sticks and the cubes underneath it, let's be honest, a lot of stuff gets in it. Whether it be soda, hair, dead skin. If you have a dog or a cat, usually dogs, those analog cubes will be full of dog hair. So we just want to make sure you clean that out so there's no obstructions of any kind.
Even if there isn't, still try this. Take the end of the straw, stick it somewhat in the cube, and give it some sprays. Maybe around the cube as well. Same with the other one. Set that aside. Now we'll put it back together and test it to see if that fixed the analog drift. So pull these ribbon cables aside, put this back in, make sure this is out and these are out and this little one is out. And you can just pop it back in, make sure it's in there. It's in there. So now you can plug your ribbon cables back in. Make sure the line on the ribbon cable on this blue one is flush with the component right here. And with this one, kind of just fold it and then grip the top of it. Press that back in. There's little tabs on the side of these ribbon cables. Make sure those are also flush with the components here. Like so. In. Grab this little guy, put that in. Sometimes when you're plugging it in, it'll pop this out of the slot that it's in. So you just want to take this, and there's this little end piece right there. Just take that and feed it into the slot there. And that should be good. Now you want to take your battery cover of sorts. Put that back on. Make sure the screw's in there. Screw that back in. And then don't forget this little microphone. I tend to forget and then I have to take it apart again, so you don't want to do that.
Don't forget those microphone ribbon cables. They're tiny and easy to overlook. I always forget to put them back in. And when you're putting them back in and taking them out, be careful with those as well because those can also tear.
So kind of grip it by the little tab on the back. It's kind of a pain. And then plug it in so that the metal side, the shiny copper side, is pointing down. Yeah, this one's a pain. Once it's kind of in there, you can kind of just press it down like that. And then the same with this microphone, it has that tab that you want to feed through the slot there. Make sure the ribbon is underneath that tiny little tab right there, you'll see. And once that's done, you can put your battery back in. And when you plug it in, there's 3 prongs inside the hole here that you want to line up with these 3 prongs. And you're going to want the red, white, and the black, white, and red wires like this. You want the black on top. And you can just press that in. Wait until it pops. There we go. And then when you put the battery back in, make sure to tuck these wires under the tab here. Like that. Put that battery in there, nice and snug. Now you can put the back shell back on. So what you do here is these parts right here, you kind of want to hook up in the top here. Once those are hooked, then you just press it all down. Make sure these tabs snap like that. Make sure it's all secure. Then you want to put the 4 screws back in. Careful with these, because again, they can fall into those slots. And then the top two screws. And screw those in. Once those are all tight, now you take this trim piece. This is a little difficult. Again, these two tabs right here, there's like triangle holes right there. You want to insert those in there like that, and then you can press it down. Make sure it's careful with these because those tabs can break off. So insert those like that, kind of wiggle it around a bit, and then press it down, and then snap these in. And then there might be a gap there. If you see a gap, press down and I'll snap that in. Now the trim piece is in. Now you want to take your bumpers, and then obviously L1 you want on the left. There's two triangle type things, looks like a crown. You want the tip of these two to go into the slot right there. So once that's in, oh, upside down. You pop that in. Make sure that pops, test it out. And same with the other side. Make sure all the buttons are working right. Make sure the sticks work well. And there you have it. Now plug it into your system and try it out. Well, I hope this video helped. If you want to learn more about the ins and outs of controllers and other gaming accessories, make sure to like and subscribe for future tutorials. Thanks for watching. Catch you later.